Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
And a good Tuesday morning to you. Welcome to the show. The senior producer, Ryan Nicholson, is doing the thing that he does across the hall. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill CDJR Ram, where the Black Friday sales event continues. The new 2024 Ram 1500 is calling your name, folks. Visit them anytime. Found the place mall in Logan or at thornhillcdjr.com. We come to you from the Par Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Phone calls to the show, a service of Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, Spring Street, Charleston. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Taylor. Tony the Taylor celebrating the 14th Small Business Saturday. He's been doing this for 14 years. It'll be this Saturday in his store downtown Charleston, where you can save 20 to 50% off quality men's sportswear, outwear, shoes, jackets, suits, and more with Tony the Taylor. Welcome to the show. Countdown is on to Thanksgiving, of course, just 2 days away. Coming up a little bit later on, our old buddy TJ Meadows is going to join us. Haven't had TJ on in a while. It'll be interesting to get his take on the world of politics today. So that's coming up a little bit later on in the show. But right now, I want to welcome into our studio our good friend John Lovejoy from Fresh Air. Fresh Air is a product and a company that's owned by the Meeks family of businesses, proud sponsors of this show. John, good morning. Welcome to the show and happy early Thanksgiving.
Good morning, Dave. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
All right. So since I've asked all my guests this question recently, I have to ask you as well. Your favorite part of the Thanksgiving meal is?
Oh, mine would probably have to be the dressing.
All right. See, here's the thing. I've been asking everybody this. It's been on my show for like the last week and a half, and I haven't kept the results. But if I had to guess, I am going to say that the dressing is probably in the lead. I had one for cranberries and cranberry sauce. And okay,
bless their heart. I'll pray for him.
That's our good friend Dr. Casey Sachs from Bridge Valley. She's from Colorado, so we'll just let that slide. No, I'm just kidding. We love Dr. Sachs. And I had a couple people said the desserts. One, I think it was Ben Salango, was a sweet potato casserole,
yep.
And then Andy Shea, the owner of the Dirty Birds, his was pumpkin pie, so that's all good too. But I'm a dressing kind of guy.
I am too.
Tracy, our lady that holds down the fort up here upstairs, we're talking yesterday about people that put oysters in their dressing. That's the way my mother made it. And and I know we're not on television, but by the expression on your face, you're not feeling the oyster dressing.
I am not an oyster person.
Okay, well, it's very good.
Okay,
if you don't
I'll
like
take your word.
If you don't like it, you're not going to like it. So yeah, the dressing is definitely in the lead for me. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
So I'll get TJ's take on it a little bit later on. All right, so for those who may not have heard you on the air before, it's been a couple of months since you've been on. Of course, as I said, Fresh Air, one of the sponsors, part of the Meeks family that helps sponsor the show. Give us the definition, give us the elevator speech on Fresh Air as a company. What exactly do you do?
We are a filter changing company. We come out and we build custom metal filter frames for your HVAC unit. It's going to be healthier for your HVAC, and then the filters that are inside are a better quality filter, giving you healthier air on the inside as well.
Okay.
And then we come out on a regular basis and we change those filters for you, so you never have to remember when it's time to change your filter.
And now that we are into the holiday season, of course, this kind of work that you guys do, John, is important year-round, obviously. But let's talk a little bit about indoor air quality. It is especially important. It's not, well, probably not more important during the holiday season, but you know, there could be more emphasis on it. You're going to have people over to the house and so on and so forth. Talk about that.
Exactly. That's the big thing. This time of year, during the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, and even New Year's, people are gathering. And so you've got a large amount of people in smaller spaces. And as a result, that means you've got more allergens coming in, more germs, things along that. And all of that can affect your indoor air quality. So it's really important to make sure you've got fresh air filters in place prior to these gatherings. And then as the weather turns colder this time of year, you also have other things that can come into play. People start using their fireplaces, and people don't realize the fireplace can affect your air filter. And burning candles is real popular this time of year. And again, that smoke, resulting from the fireplace use and the candles can clog the air filter much quicker than times of the year when those things aren't being used.
I guess it's something, again, we're talking with John Lovejoy of Fresh Air. I guess it's something I hadn't really thought about, because the last time you were on the show is probably sometime in the summer or whatever.
Yes.
That the changing of the seasons actually affect these things. And you're going to have different issues, maybe some more, some less, or whatever, depending on the time of year it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we just went through the switch over from summer to fall. That's a big allergy season. And same thing with the switch over from winter to spring. That's why most of your HVAC companies that provide a preventative maintenance plan come out those 2 times of the year, because that's allergies peak seasons, those 2 switchovers. But the filters do need to be changed more frequently than every 6 months, at least every 3 months. And again, there's other factors that come into play as far as, pets in the house, are you using your fireplace, things like that. When those things are present, then that filter really needs to be changed more frequently.
And again, we're talking with John Lovejoy of Fresh Air. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, please know they offer custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. You can train for little or no cost, 50-50 salary match. They also can supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. Now, people are listening right now and they're saying, well, John, I do this myself. I don't need, and I'm talking just residential. We'll get to commercial here in a couple of moments. We're talking just residential. People are listening right now and say, well, I do this myself.
Yes.
Why do I need a professional company to come out and do this service for me?
The big difference is in our filter itself. Like I said, we come out and we build a custom fit filter for your HVAC unit. That custom fit means it's tighter. Our frames are also metal. They're not the cardboard or that thin plastic that you can get at the local box stores or online. It's a metal frame, so it's heavier. So that means whenever your system is kicking on and off, there's no movement in the filter. And if there's no movement in the filter, then things aren't getting around the filter and into your HVAC unit. So our filters really help protect that HVAC investment. The average HVAC repair bill just for a home runs about $750. And so, it's a service that's going to help pay for itself in the long run, because it's going to cause your system to work at its peak. And it's also going to protect that investment that you made, so that you're not hit with those heavy bills.
Can you set people up on a contract where we come out every so often? Is that because I know the HVAC companies do that frequently. They'll come in what's known, I used to be in the business, it's something they used to call the clean and check when they would come out.
Yeah.
Can you set people up just on a contract basis where you automatically just show up at their place?
Yes, that's exactly what we do. So you
don't have to worry about it. You just, I guess, text them, call them, send them an email or whatever, and say, we're going to be out on, it's time for your service. We're going to be out the second week in April. How does that look for you?
Absolutely, yes. We actually will send them a date and say, this is the date that we've got you scheduled. If there's ever any issues with that date, they can give us a call. We can reschedule. But yes, we do set them up based on their particular situation and their lifestyle. Again, like if they've got a pet, they're going to be done on a more frequent basis, because pet dander is one of the huge cloggers. I've got a yellow lab, and I can attest to that.
Well, we just added a cat in our house, so we now have 2 cats, and And the cat that we just took in as a stray is he's quite furry. Yes, so well, the fur is going to be flying in that house.
I joke I should have named my dog Rogaine because I've never seen something shed so much and not have bald spots. Yeah, so we look at their particular lifestyle and we tailor that contract to match the lifestyle of the client. And that way, they don't have to worry when it's time. They don't have to go out and try to find those hard to find, hard sizes, odd sizes. That's the nice thing about a custom filter. Yeah. We know what that size is when we. And
you're not going to have to go to some box store and go searching for it. You've got it because they're all different, and it's not a one size fits all kind of a deal.
Exactly. We come out and we, like I said, we measure that first visit, and as soon as our technician measures where the HVAC filter goes, they go out to their van and they build it right there on site. So that way they come back in and make sure that's a good, secure fit. And then the filters are added, and, from then on you are set. The next visit, you've already got your filter built, and so it's just a matter of, replacing the filter that's inside that frame, and we're in and out in just a few minutes. It's not going to be, something that's going to take up your entire day. When we schedule a visit, we'll give you a time frame that we're going to be there between this, and I'll tell you, it's not like the other utilities.
You're not going to say, I'm going to be there sometime between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Exactly.
You're going to give them a more concrete time. Talk about what you can do before we let you go. Talk about what you can do for commercial businesses.
Commercial, we do the exact same thing.
Because this is something that I know is probably more common is to have them, for commercial businesses, because you talk about difficult ones to do, especially when you deal with places with kitchens and stuff of that nature. It's a totally different ballgame.
It is a completely different ballgame. We do restaurants. We do churches. A lot of churches don't have an on-staff maintenance team, so we'll do churches. We do paint booths. We do industrial settings, and it doesn't matter where the vent is. We've got a restaurant here in town that it's between a drop ceiling and the regular ceiling above the cooktop area. So our technicians are up in the ceilings, in between two layers. We do rooftops, crawl spaces. It doesn't matter where that, filter's located. We'll go to it and we'll get that taken care of for them.
John Lovejoy of Fresh Air, give us your contact information. People listening right now, they say, and I'm presuming you'll come out and just give them an estimate, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and we will price match anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, so our office number is 304-440-1104, or you can visit our website at freshairfilters.us.
Freshairfilters.us. Hey, John, I appreciate you being here, and have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy all the dressing that you can without oysters.
Thank you, Dave. Oysters. I appreciate that. I hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving as well as all of the listeners.
All right, John. John Lovejoy of Fresh Air. Appreciate you being here. Hang out with me here 1 second. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Live Healthy, West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles pressing health issues, a bunch of them: heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and more. It's a podcast that looks into medical breakthroughs to preventative care. WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond the state. It's a valuable resource for all. Check out the latest episodes, WVMetroNews.com, under the podcast menu, and start your journey towards better health today. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. We're going to take a break. TJ Meadows, who's not been on the show in some time, interested in talking to him. And the great thing about TJ is when I have TJ on the show in the studio here, he's all about the phone calls. So if you want to call up and talk a little politics with TJ on the local level, on the state level, on the national level, we can do that. Again, the number is Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858, or text us courtesy of Tony the Taylor 304-935-5008. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses live to make life better for you and your family.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Polka Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
According to Feeding America, over 7 million seniors nationwide were food insecure in 2022. West Virginia is no different. Hi, I'm Jason, President and CEO of Union Mission Ministries. For 113 years, Union Mission has focused on helping people in need. Right now, our senior citizens need our help. That is why Union Mission is partnering with local senior living facilities to get food delivered directly to those in need. Will you help us reach more seniors? Visit unionmission.com to learn more.
Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street has served 3 generations of shoppers since 1955 as the largest locally owned independent grocery store in the area. The Joseph family owners grew up here, so you know they're invested in the community. They provide the biggest variety of choice meats, the freshest produce, an in-house deli bakery, great wine selection, and more of your favorite brands. Every purchase gives you gasoline points so you can save at our pumps. Order online for pickup at BigglyPigglyWiggly.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. No one beats the pig.
$9:23. Vaccines are your best protection against severe disease from flu and COVID-19. If you're 65 or older, risk less, do more with the season's vaccines. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you part by Morgan & Morgan. If you're injured, hire Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. TJ Meadows coming up here in a couple of moments. Hoppy Kirchville on the way, 10:06. Metro News Talk Line. Senate Finance Chair Eric Tarr will lead things off this morning. Jared Halpert and Ryan Schmelz, both from Fox News Radio, are on today. The election interference charges against Donald Trump via Jack Smith have been dropped. Mr. Halpern will weigh in on that. Plus, will President Biden pardon his son, Hunter? And speaking of pardons, the annual tradition of pardoning turkeys at Thanksgiving will be discussed, as will the Trump nominees as well. Former Charleston Mayor Danny Jones will also stop by to weigh in on that subject as well. Plus, Brad McElhaney on today, too. It's Hoppy with Talk Line 10:06 from the Encove Insurance Studios in the Dale Miller Building in Morgantown. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. Let's welcome back to the show after a long absence. What do I call you? Political pundit, TJ Meadows?
Sure. I've been called a lot worse. That's for sure.
All right. So
can I drop a bombshell on you right from the start?
Sure.
If Biden doesn't pardon his son, I actually think Trump ought to.
You know, I heard somebody say that the other day. Maybe it was you. I don't know.
Wasn't me.
So I heard somebody the other day say that they thought that in an effort of goodwill that President-elect Trump should pardon Hunter Biden. So what's your reasoning behind that?
Well, I think sometimes we have to be the change and lead the change that we want to inspire. And President Trump has not held back on talking about how the justice system has been weaponized politically. He's made that argument. The American people can decide whether or not they want to believe it. But I do think that pardoning Mr. Biden, Hunter Biden, would be a good step and a good faith gesture toward inspiring the change that he wants to see. Turning the cheek and not showing retribution. I think sometimes the president is harshly criticized, and some of that is probably well due. But I think it's a chance for him to show Americans who voted for him, as well as Americans who perhaps didn't, some grace and compassion that he might otherwise want to see himself. So I think politically as well, it smooths the way for him. It buys him not only goodwill with the electorate, and it's the way to turn the other cheek. But I think politically, it also shows him some goodwill moving forward. But we'll see if he does it or not.
Well, I was going to say the caveat to that, the big but here. And I like big butts, and I cannot lie. That I would throw in there is this is Donald Trump we're talking about.
It is,
and what I mean by that is that one of the things that Donald Trump ran on was retribution, and a lot of his followers. I'm not saying they're going to turn away from him, because at this point we've proven it would take a whole hell of a lot for anybody that's a hardcore Trump supporter to turn away from him. There's very few people that have done that. If anything, with all of the scandals and everything that happened January 6th, whatever, they actually dug their heels in more, I think, with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it would be a great gesture. I don't think it'll happen, though. It could be totally wrong.
It may not. And I'm kind of speaking from my experience, which is very limited, but I have never regretted treating other people the way I want to be treated. Yeah. I've never regretted that. But
again, this is Donald Trump.
This is Donald Trump. I also think there's a lesson from Lincoln in this. Lincoln said it's hard to move forward in your future if you don't forgive yourself and if you don't forgive others. I'm paraphrasing, but I think there's a lot of truth in that. But, we'll see what happens. I just thought it was interesting you brought it up. So,
all right. Talking with TJ Meadows of the Dave Allen Show and 580 Live, brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants. Pinnacle offers a 4-phase assessment for your properties: inspection, sampling, and analysis, comprehensive reporting, and management planning. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can hurt you. All right, so we started off talking about politics, but I got to go back just for a moment because we are 2 days away from Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
All right. Your favorite part of the Thanksgiving meal?
So, favorite part of the meal, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Honestly,
I mean the food part. Yeah. Family togetherness, blah, blah, blah. It's all good. It's all good.
I will say I love Thanksgiving because it doesn't have the pressure of presents and everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
I like that. Not knocking Christmas. I love Christmas too. This is probably a bit different. You may not have heard this, and my mom does it for more than Thanksgiving. But one of the things that I loved growing up and I always look forward to, and it's part of our Thanksgiving menu, I guess you would say, her homemade macaroni salad.
Okay.
Believe it or not. I love all the traditional fixings, turkey, stuffing, love pumpkin pie. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, I look forward to that macaroni salad, and I continually eat it for 2-3 days after.
It's interesting when my wife and I were having this conversation last night, when you talk about different people and their different traditions, even in different parts of the state. I had, when I had Greg Thomas on the show yesterday, I think it was Greg, talked about noodles. And I'm thinking, I mean, I'm from Southern West Virginia. You're from Southern West Virginia.
I am.
Noodles were really not part of the menu. Although I can remember my stepmother probably making macaroni salad. But noodles was just kind of weird to me.
So my wife's family has Hungarian roots, and they have what they call grandma's soup. Okay. And we always do that around the holidays. We do her family on the Saturday after mine. And grandma's soup has always been part of that recipe. And for the 20 years I've been a part of that family or whatever it is, let me tell you, if you go hungry in a family that has Hungarian recipes in it, it's your own fault. But
grandma's soup, that'd be a great name for a band.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you and I should start a band, TJ. We'll call it Grandma's Soup. All right. So you haven't been on in quite some time. So
July. I was actually looking. It was July.
July. Oh boy, what has happened since then?
Man.
Well, when I had you on before, had the conventions even happened yet?
You had me on the week that President Biden announced that he was not going to seek re-election and Harris was coming in.
Okay, all right. So the conventions, I guess, had not happened yet. The Trump assassination attempts had not happened yet. And certainly the Kamala Harris loss to Donald Trump had not happened yet. It's interesting because people that listen to the show, TJ, know I'm a big fan of Bill Maher. Mm-hmm. And I watch Bill Maher. The problem is that it comes on way past my bedtime.
Yeah.
So I record it and I go back and watch it at some other point. And so I realized last night, as I was waiting on the Monday Night Football game and I was perusing the things I had recorded, I had not watched this particular Bill Maher that was recorded, that actually was done live, I should say, back in September.
Okay.
And so I went back and I watched that last night, and he had one of the panelists was a commentator from MSNBC. The other was a national writer. I don't remember if it was it might have been the New York Times. I'm not sure. They were all, the three of them were speaking about the presidential race as if it were a done deal that Kamala Harris was going to win. And as they say, that did not age well, because Bill Maher, whom generally speaking, I don't agree with Bill Maher on a lot of things, but I do agree with him on some. He's usually pretty good at predictions. And he was talking about this and he said, well, Trump's going to go away, but Trumpism will not. They were Trump is done. Trump is done. In the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. That didn't age well, TJ.
No, it didn't age well. And look, I think, even in September, there was still sort of this spillover of new hope, I think, in moving forward with the Democratic ticket. But honestly, and I've heard this from other people, I don't think it's a big secret or revelation. I think Democrats have simply forgot their roots. They've forgotten the working man. What did this election come down to, Dave? It came down to economy, and it came down to immigration, and inflation being a big part of the economic factor. You go back and look at some of the exit polls, particularly AP, some of the ones they did. Economy was anywhere from 5 to 10 times more important to a voter, depending on what state they were in, than it was the last go around. People are financially stretched. And, there was just not a connection between a Harris administration and what it could do for the economy versus what a Trump administration was perceived to be able to provide. And look, you've heard the president say all the time, his scorecard's the S&P. His scorecard is economic drivers. He's ran on that, had a good economy up through COVID during the first end. Now, I particularly tend to be one that says, look, a lot of times the market and what it does is outside the purview of the president of the United States.
Sure, yeah.
But he successfully planted that perception and has ran on it, and it just did not resonate. Some of the social issues that were more divisive in the past. You look at abortion, important to roughly 11% of the electorate, I think I read, versus the economy being, the top issue to 40% of those voters. The Democrats would do well to go back and listen to Carville. It's the economy, stupid, and it's more important than it's ever been. It's always going to be important.
Well, and again, as I've said, and I've had texters to the show, TJ, that have pointed out, and others, pundits have as well. Well, the economy under Biden, we've added so many jobs, and we've done, and that's all true. Okay. Yeah. However, when the average person goes to the grocery store and they see the price of a loaf of bread, they see the price of a pound of bacon or a dozen eggs or whatever, none of that really means anything.
No.
And that's what I think you have I think sometimes because the political elites, and trust me, there's just as many on the right as there is on the left.
Absolutely.
They are so out of touch with the average person and the average family that they don't realize. They look at these economic things and they say, well, we've added more jobs under Biden. The economy's exploding. Okay, well, what are you paying at the grocery store? And again, right or wrong, they're going to blame the person in the White House, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat.
Yeah. Show me a Washington politician without the help of a staffer that can tell me what a gallon of milk costs today back in their district. I'd be very surprised if they could quote it, quite frankly. One of the problems with that, we went through post-COVID, and you can argue whether or not the IRA put too many dollars into the economy or whatever, but we went through some massive periods of inflation. And while the left has done a good job of saying, look, we've held inflation's down 2%. The problem is coming down 2% when you went up, in some cases, 15%, depending on the commodity you're talking about. You're still, net way higher than what you were. And that's what people are truly looking at. They're still comparing prices to back before we saw the supply chain interruptions. We saw, too many dollars in the economy with what was going on post-COVID, right? So, today in 2024, you're hearkening back to 2020, 2019, 2021, when prices were still a lot lower. And we haven't had any deflation in the economy. We can argue whether or not that's a good thing, but people still remember those prices, and they haven't gotten over it.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah.
Leave it to me. I'm going to come up with something like that. All right, I got some text.
I love your wit.
Yeah.
I love your wit.
Well, it's a curse. It really is.
I think it's some people may say it's an acquired taste. I like it.
Yeah, well, talk to my wife about it. Text says, it would be on brand for Republicans if Trump pardoned Hunter Biden after all the taxpayer money and resources they wasted in that political witch hunt. Just another day of Republicans wasting taxpayer money to further their political agenda.
What's odd about maybe trying to do the right thing is all I would say to that. What's odd about treating someone the way you want to be treated if you've gone through a period that you think was unjust? I'm not saying Trump will do that. You and I just spoke about it.
Yeah.
But never a wrong time to do the right thing.
Text says, remember when Trump put tariffs on China that hurt American farmers, and then the federal government had to bail out the farmers? That unnecessary spending, definitely didn't contribute to inflation. Sarcasm, says the text.
I mean, look, we're in a period where, tariffs do more than just, regulate economy. You have security mechanisms within tariffs. You have to say, okay, why are we offboarding so many manufacturing jobs to America when we could bring some of those back? You bring some of the manufacturing people in, and they'll tell you that, look, if you manufacture a good in America, right, the company is based here, they're going to pay a corporate net income tax. They're going to pay all kinds of different things that someone that is importing that from China is not going to pay. If you think about a tariff as leveling the playing field, different story.
All right. I understand we have a call. So, Ryan, let's put Don on the air. Don, you're on with TJ Meadows and myself. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you all?
We're doing fine. How are you, sir?
I appreciate the goodwill that if President Trump were to pardon Biden, but no. I mean, it seems like forever Republicans have always taken the high road, and it always gets them in the end. I know so many people out there think Republicans are the dirty pool players here, but my entire life of 63 years, it has always been the Democrats. I've never heard honest bipartisanship come from a Democrat unless they're in the minority. And that's the truth. I haven't. And about the tariffs, just think of the tariffs as a corporate tax. If you're against tariffs, then you must be against corporate taxes, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I just kind of made your point there, Don, because if you're a domestic manufacturer, you're paying a corporate net income tax, right? If you're manufacturing in China and then shipping in, you're not paying that. So in that instance, I think there's a very real argument to be made that you're leveling the playing field.
Well, that's all I had. I'm driving, and I'm a little bit preoccupied in traffic.
Well, all right. All right,
be
Don,
safe, man.
Be safe, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Text says, one needs convicted of a crime to be pardoned. I've wondered what federal crime turkeys do every year to get pardoned.
Yeah, that's good. I would have to defer to lawyers on that.
They're guilty of foul play?
Yeah,
all right.
Perhaps. What happens don't they bring two to the White House and they pick?
Yeah.
What happens to the other turkey?
No, I think they both got pardoned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they both got pardoned.
Talk about a loser.
Well, Democrats, it's a safety net for everything. It's a safety net for everything. Text said, not political. I know the noodles Greg Thomas speaks of. Think of the thick, yellow Pennsylvania Amish country noodles and gravy.
Okay.
Texture.
That kind of sounds like a Hungarian noodle, too.
Well, Greg's from northern West Virginia. They don't put slaw on their hot dogs, so I don't care. I don't care what anybody from there.
I'll tell you the time I was in Philly and tried to get chili on my hot dog. That was an experience.
I bet it. Well, my wife is from Chicago. You ever had a Chicago dog?
No.
They're a little bit different. I like them, but it's got a lot of vegetables and pickle spears and sport peppers, and it's a science.
Dude, put bean chili on it.
Yeah. Text says, for many people, Trump and MAGA is a sacred religious experience. They are very cultish in their behavior.
I mean, look, I'm not going to try to stereotype MAGA or anybody else. All I'm saying is this, and notwithstanding the point that Don made previously, just me and my 2 cents. If I were the president, I would sleep a little better at night if I pardoned him and I took the high road. Even if others don't, I want to do what's right.
But I was going to say, but do you think though that he's going to lose some base? Because here's the thing, Trump won overwhelmingly. We all know that. But during the campaign, and even after the victory, there have been some people that had some questions within the Republican Party about Donald Trump, and they weren't happy with certain things that Trump said. Or one texter to the show said he's turning his back on evangelicals. Now, the fact that you're going to equate Donald Trump with an evangelical to me is kind of a far stretch. But before we go to break, any thoughts that may actually cost him if he did that, TJ?
It may cost him in the short run, but this is a guy that, for whatever reason, you can say what you want about him, he tends to think long term. And long term, if this buys him goodwill and he's able to trade it for something legislatively or administratively that he wants to get done in some of these agencies, silly not to make the deal.
I'm talking with TJ Meadows. Special Olympics embodies the true spirit of sportsmanship, not merely about winning medals. It's about being a part of a team, practicing and competing together. The joy and fulfillment derived from these experiences are immeasurable as athletes find their confidence and self-worth through the shared pursuit of victory. West Virginia Enriched, in collaboration with Huntington, invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. Check out a video highlighting the Special Olympics, facebook.com/580WCHS. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. We are going to take a break. When we come back, more with TJ Meadows. And man, we got a bunch of texts to get to for you, Mr. Meadows, this morning. No. It's a shame you don't have your own show. We'll be back right after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for supporting local small businesses.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the The rock holiday tradition returns. December 5th at 7 p.m. Charleston Coliseum. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefiting WVU Medicine Children's. Soaring guitars, dazzling lasers, and enough pyro to keep you warm all season. Don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra live in concert.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before November 30th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee. So you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is November 30th. So call now and you'll save even more. Here's the number. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Dave Allen Show at 580 Live, brought to you right by Huston's Pizza. This month, at your favorite Huston's, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and a pizzadilla, only $21.99. Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. TJ Meadows is here. Text says your guest today is very, very middle of the road and says very safe things.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I tend to be one that tells you what I think, and I don't tend to go to the extremes. Maybe that's why I'm mismatched, but is what it is.
Text says no to pardoning Hunter. Do you seriously believe for 1 second that any progressive president would pardon Trump, Don Jr., Eric, Ivanka, etc.? No. All they've talked about was getting Trump. Alvin Bragg, Letitia James campaigned on that. They hate this man, and they've made no secret of that. Enough of the constant caving to the Marxists in this country, Mr. Meadows.
I get it. I simply think that entertaining it would go a long way toward healing the country and maybe getting some of this division behind us and actually being able to govern. Because, in a split-term presidency, that is now a lame duck presidency effectively at some point, can't run again, that first 100 days is going to be pivotal. And that first 6-7 months is going to be pivotal because, then you're going to have the House already running for re-election. And it's getting quicker and quicker in terms of the election cycles. So this Republican trifecta, you need to move quickly, move aggressively in order to get your legislative agenda. And, in a post-Chevron deference world where the court in Loper has said the agencies no longer have deference, the courts will interpret based on their judgment, that really puts an onus back on Congress to do what they should have been doing all along, which is regulate with specificity, legislate with specificity, and clearly put into the law what is applicable, what is in bounds, and what is not. And given those factors, you got to move, and you got to move quick.
I will say this about Trump, and I've said this on the show numerous times. There's no excuses now. No. Heaven forbid we have another COVID. They say we're going to have one eventually, but maybe hopefully not over the next couple of years. But if he doesn't have that, and he's got allies, so to speak, in the other houses and the other branches, the things he's promised his followers, he's going to have to get done. He really does. First of all, they're not going to deport that many people. Okay, that's not going to happen. It's not financially feasible, and plus it will cripple the U.S. economy. You're nodding your head. You don't agree with that?
No,
it's not going to happen.
I just look. You could create the largest law enforcement agency known to man to go out and round people up. It's still not practical. I mean, it's going to take a lot longer.
It will destroy the U.S. economy.
That's true. There's a lot of jobs out there that Americans just don't want to do.
I saw an interview on TV the other day with a farmer in California who said, hey, we tried like heck to get Americans do these jobs, they won't do these jobs. So you talk about, you start deporting all the, I mean, look, I don't like the system either, TJ, but you start deporting all these people that he's talking about deporting, you talk about your prices rising.
Yeah.
Because these are the ones. Now, I'm not talking about the bad guys. I'm not talking about the gangs and so on and so forth. I'm talking about the ones that are here working, albeit possibly illegally. You talk about crippling an economy, dude, that's going to cripple an economy.
No, and look, the president is really good. Whether people see through it or not, the fear is still there. You know, the old adage is, I forget the player, but there was an NBA player that didn't want to get physical, right? He didn't want to, he wanted to play the game clean. He didn't want to play it dirty. And his coach said, all you got to do is throw an elbow one time and do it on national television and see that you're serious. You'll never have to do it again. Trump already threw an elbow. He's done that plenty of times. So now people understand that if you really want to press him on it, you know, look, I heard earlier, I think on your show, maybe someone else's, you're talking about the president's negotiating tactic is to come in and punch somebody in the face and then start negotiating with him. He did that. He doesn't have to do that anymore. And if you're President Trump, you know, you come out strong and then you figure out what is practical. And to your point, I just don't think it's practical to be able to get that done for a lot of reasons.
Text says Trump staring into the eclipse with no eye protection is the perfect metaphor for the Republican Party. Let's see. So did you send this text in over here while you're on the air? And you're pretty good. Good heavens, why doesn't TJ Meadows have a full-time show? Sure would like to see more TJ on the airwaves.
Well, I'm an acquired taste as well. So
let me see here. Text says you can say tariffs level the playing field, but prices go up, period. We sell less goods to foreign countries, period. How will this help the economy?
You know, traditionally I would agree. But as I said, there's more these days than when you have players like China that are constantly manipulating their currency to make their dollar or their equivalent of the dollar weaker than ours so that their goods become less expensive and they're artificially manipulating their currency. Look, all games are off. Free trade only works in a fair and regulated market.
All right. I think we have a call. Ryan, if you're ready, let's go to talk to Brian. You're on with TJ and Dave. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning.
If these jobs that Americans won't do are keep being performed by the people illegally entering in our country, how long is the illegal entry into the country going to be allowed? Are we just going to keep doing this? And when you say you can't afford it, how can we afford to put these people up in the best hotels in the country to where that people that visited those nice cities before can't even get a reservation? I don't understand the logic in what you're saying. The people that come here legally ought to be able to work here, but the people who slip across the border, how many of them are not coming here to work? How many are coming after the goodies and to do wrong to us?
There are. Okay, all right, Brian, I appreciate your phone call. There are a lot of people that do that, and I agree. I am what I'm talking about to the caller, and TJ, you could jump in here as well. What I'm talking about is it, and I know people hate this term. It is what it is. But it is what it is. I mean, people are coming here and they are doing the jobs that Americans don't. I wish it weren't that way. Most of the employers probably wish it weren't that way, but it is.
Yeah, the border has to be 100% secure, and we should do a better job of that. And we have to get the border area tight, right? It's got to be tight, and the illegal entrants have to stop. But for folks that are already here, and maybe people that have been here for 20 years and have children that were born here, practically, you have to figure that out. We have to come up with some kind of solution. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and you can't just deport all of them.
One figure that I saw said that if there is a court case involved here, the average person, now this is anecdotal, as Hoppy would say, that the average case is $100,000. How many illegals do we have here right now? All right, times $100,000. That's what it's going to cost to do this. I wish we wouldn't have gotten in this situation. I mean, make no mistake about it. I wish we weren't in this situation, but we are. Let me knock out a couple texts before we go to break here. Text says on the pardoning Hunter Biden, which TJ's all,
I really opened a can of worms with
all
that.
Four. Text says no, it will not heal the country. What happens every time someone caves to the left and apologizes for their opinion? That's never enough. They push more and more and double down on their way to no way, says the texter.
Don't confuse kindness with weakness.
Okay.
Never confuse kindness with weakness. I have learned, and my experience has taught me that you can be both. And I think if the president wanted to take that path, he could do it.
All right. We need to take a break. We'll be back right after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
For a technical job in the medical field, Generations is growing and looking to add on job-trained physical therapy techs to our rehab team. To apply, visit one of our 7 convenient locations or simply click on us at generationspt.com.
Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street has served 3 generations of shoppers since 1955 as the largest locally owned independent grocery store in the area. The Joseph family owners grew up here, so you know they're invested in the community. They provide the biggest variety of choice meats, the freshest produce, an in-house deli bakery, great wine selection, and more of your favorite brands. Every purchase gives you gasoline points so you can save at our pumps. Order online for pickup at bigglypigglywiggly.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. No one beats the pig.
For your build or restoration, you can always count on us. Professional service and dedication, Jarrett's the name to trust. Saving you more, saving you time, providing quality building and design. Right on time, right on budget. Call on Jarrett's Construction.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
By now, I'm sure you recognize that cha-ching sound means this is a commercial for 50/50 Fridays. But this one is a little different. We're always looking for exciting new restaurants and businesses to feature on 50/50 Fridays. And that's where you come in. Instead of paying cash for your advertising, sign your restaurant or business up to be featured with 50/50 Fridays, which will save you money and bring new customers into your location. Email Joe Parsons at jparsons@wvmetronews.com to get started today.
6 minutes away from 10. Dave Allen Show and 580 Live brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. The Birds and Selango Law continue with the Selango Law Light the Night every night except Christmas night through the New Year's nights at Gomart Ballpark. Follow the Dirty Birds on Facebook for details, and please get your tickets ahead of time. dblightthenight.com. Text says the caller Brian is spot on, says a texter. Text says, Dave, ask TJ how much tax money was wasted prosecuting President Trump.
A lot.
I'm not done yet. So many witch hunts to destroy the man. Democrats wasted so much tax money, so the American people have had enough. Now, continue.
Yes, they have. I mean, there's no doubt that look, that was a poor decision. And, we're seeing that. We're seeing that play out now. This morning, the lead prosecutor announced they were dropping all the federal charges, and it's not going anywhere. I did see Alvin Bragg, which I thought was really something on his part, ask for a 4-year stay so that they would be able to take up the Manhattan charges after the fact. I mean, the best thing to do, it's been a waste of time from the start. You don't go after a president unless they've done something that rises in office to the point of espionage, something really critical. I'm being a little hyperbolic there, but the court weighed in on this with their ruling. Mm-hmm. The court gave us a framework to understand when a president should be prosecuted and when a president should not be prosecuted. And we should hold to that framework vigorously.
Text says, MS-13 became an international criminal organization when the U.S. deported immigrants back to El Salvador. We need to be cautious not to make the same mistake. Text says, the border will never be 100% secure. If people need to wake up and realize the average American will not do the hard labor work immigrants will do. We're spoiled and want our cake and eat it too while looking down our noses at the people who are truly putting food on our table.
So as a guy that has owned businesses in this community and is friends with a lot of business owners in this community, I could get on my phone right now and call 5 different people, and they would tell you that they're actively trying to hire anywhere from 10 to 25 people, and they can't fill those jobs. Yeah. Now, we can all debate about why that is, but it's there.
Text says, Dave, you still don't get it. The people who voted for President Trump did so because they want a secure border, safer communities, lower food and gas prices, and no more wars. It's that simple.
Economy and immigration. There it is.
Text says, nope, no citizenship for illegals. Nope. That's the only thing Democrats care about is making them into voters. If these people were going to vote conservative, that border would have been shut down in a heartbeat. Sick of hearing Trump supporters are part of a cult. Excuse me, we are not the ones telling people to cut out, avoid, or not to speak to family members because they voted for someone we didn't want. We are not the ones that physically assaulted someone because they say something we don't like or disagree with. Okay, that's not true. And those are signs of cults. Manson family, Heaven's Gate, Waco, etc. I would take issue with some of what that texter said because some of the extreme right wing have done the exact same thing there.
When did we decide as Americans to define ourselves based on who we voted for in the last election? When did that become popular? When did we become so thin-skinned that we were so afraid in our arguments that we had to vilify somebody else for their arguments?
When social media became a thing, and when we started going out, TJ, not watching Walter Cronkite, and I'm using that as an old person's example, and we started going out to find news that most aligns with our viewpoint. Fox News, MSNBC, CNN. When those organizations, in my opinion, well, Fox News was never legitimate news. They said so in court. When they got away from just reporting the news and started slanting it, and people then went out and started seeking out news, think Newsmax or something like that most aligns with their particular. You can text me or you can call me, anything. You can say something to me, TJ, and I will promise you I can go on the internet right now and I can find something to refute it on a quote unquote reputable news source. Sure. That's when it all happened, in my opinion. All right. We actually had you on here today, and I've only got about 45 seconds left or so to talk about some of the Trump nominees.
Yeah. So for West Virginia, really look at Lee Zeldin, EPA. Look hard at Doug Burgum, the former governor of North Dakota, once he starts to run the Interior Department, and look very hard at Chris Wright, who is a fracking guy, Liberty Energy out in Colorado. If you look at West Virginia, one of the things that is most tied to our economy, no surprise, is energy, whether it's coal, natural gas, whatever it may be. And the administrative state has become so powerful in Washington. It got its start, back in the Woodrow Wilson days. FDR obviously took it to a whole new level. Watch these three individuals. Watch what they do for energy. It'll be good for the economy in West Virginia.
All right. We got to leave it there for Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Generations Physical Therapy. 9 practices, all offering extended hours, so access to physical therapy has never been easier. For an appointment, call 304-760-5660 or visit generationspt.com. TJ, it was fun having you on the show today, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
A lot of fun. We should do more of this.
Absolutely, we should.
All right. Let me see. Coming up on the show tomorrow, we're going to be joined by Hurricane Mayor Scott Edwards, talking a little small business Saturday, and Jason Quintrell from Union Mission will be on the show tomorrow as well. Download the Metro News TV app and the WVRC Media app. Thank you so much to my producer, senior producer, Ryan Nicholson. Hoppy coming up with Talkline. See you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM, W243DRFM Charleston, and W283AQ Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.